is because we're playing a lot of the new songs, as you also said, from the Fixion album. We played 10 of the songs from the album. So it's always special to come to a new city and to play new stuff that people maybe know, or maybe not everyone in the crowd knows the new songs. But I really like to of course, play new stuff because it's always something special because it's the newest that I have written, and it's somehow feels a little bit more personal because it's still so new to me also to play. We are 5 in the band. It's me on keyboard and percussion, and then there's a drummer and a guitar player and a bass player, and Mary Fisker, she's singing and also playing guitar. So Mary Fisker has been a part of the band for the last 5 years actually. Okay. Yeah, 4 or 5 years. And she's also singing some of the songs with other vocalists, Jenny Beth. Yeah, from Savages also did 2 songs on Fixion, and we really wanted Mary not just to copy what Jenny Beth was doing, but tried to have Mary Fisker singing the songs as it was her own songs in a way. I'm a huge fan of Savages, and I really love their debut album. And then we played on a French festival, occasione, and Savages played before us, so we met backstage, and we just talked, and I was saying that I was a huge fan of the band, and they were also a huge fan of my music. It turned out. And then I started also do some stuff with their producer, John Hostile. And then we just talked about doing something together one day. And then suddenly they rang me up one day and asked me if I want to mix their new album. So I mixed the new Savages album. Actually, the first time that she joined us was in Italy. I think it was when we played in Rome last time, or Milan maybe. In the beginning, I only wanted to have one vocalist on the album, Mary Fisker, because it somehow I think it was a little bit challenging to have 5 or 6 different vocalists on the last album, Lost, because I felt it could be a little bit unpersonal because you really, as a listener, have to identify with 5 or 6 different vocalists. So I really thought about only having one vocalist to kind of take you by the hand and guide you through the album. But then I met Jenny Beth, and then my idea with only having one singer was kind of lost. So I decided to also have Jenny Beth on the album, and somehow I think Mary Fisker and Jenny Beth vocals fit quite well together. Me and Mary, we are sharing the same studio because we are in the same building kind of. She's having a studio in one room, and I'm having my own studio. And me and Jenny talked about that it could be great to actually really meet, because sometimes when I've been working with other people, we have just done it via Skype or sending files over the internet. But it was nice to actually meet in my studio. So we had 2 days to record and write 2 songs. Of course, I did some demo that I sent to Jenny, so she had the time to prepare something. But we pretty much jammed it those 2 days, so it was very intense because we only had 2 days. So that time limit actually was kind of good for us, I think, because normally I can work on a song for months, weeks, and now I was forced to do 2 songs on 2 days. So that was pretty intense, but also really nice. It was actually not something that I really planned to do when I started working on this album. It was just I mostly write the songs at my upright piano, so it's actually in one little room in my studio. So it is nearly like a little living room with 2 chairs and then this upright piano, and I really like to write songs there and not in front of the computer or in the studio, because I somehow think that the songwriting is more easy to do just at the piano, because I can really focus on the melodies and the chord progressions and the bass lines and stuff. So halfway through this writing process, I found out that some of the songs had that kind of post-punk, Cura, Joy Division kind of sound, and I really didn't plan to make that kind of music, but it just came out that way, and then I didn't really want to fight against it, so I just followed the vibe and the ideas, and then I could see, okay, this album is gonna have some references to those to that sound, but I didn't want the album to be retro or nostalgic, so I also wanted something that was looking forward, and And the big challenge was still to make it a Trentemøller album, so it was still my own sound, but with some references to bands that I was listening to when I was growing up. I don't really think in, if it's rock or if it's electronic. I just try to do the music that feels right, so I don't really think in those boxes, and I have never really done that. Of course, my first album, my debut album, was definitely more electronic sounding, but that again was not something that I really planned. It just ended up like that because the stuff that I wrote had that vibe, and then the next album sounded differently. And I also think that each album really is kind of a little snapshot of where I am in my life. So it's really normally there's a gap of 3 or 4 years between each album, or 3 years maybe. So of course my album sounds differently because my life also changes, and I also never want to do the same album twice. So always try to focus on something that I haven't really tried out before. I started playing in band, and then I did my, as I'm also doing now when I'm in the studio, it's just me in the studio playing all the instruments and mixing, producing, and writing. I really like to be just on my own. But then I'm kind of going back to where I started, because now playing these songs live, I really need the band to do that, because I cannot, of course, play guitar, drums, keyboards all at the same time live. So I really need the band to play the music together with me, and I'm using my background in playing bands when I was a teenager and older to kind of write my music, but also to know how to instruct the musicians in the band to how to play the music. That is what I'm doing in the beginning, but then I also really like to have their feedback, so the band members also come with their inputs. And it is also why I have chosen these people. I've been playing with them for 5 years now, 6 years. So I really choose them because they're also doing their own stuff. They're playing their own bands in Copenhagen. They're really doing cool stuff. So they are maybe not always the best technical musician, but they are very personal in their sound and in their style. So that's more important to me, that they're bringing something of their own soul or spirit into the music. In the beginning it's really, really hardcore, because I've been alone in the studio for like sometimes 2 years, and it's a very isolated thing. I'm quite shy about the music, and I'm also very protective, I think, because I've been used to just be me in the studio all alone. But then it's quite easy to just try things out, and we jam, and sometimes we take a song and put it up in tempo and down in tempo, and so it is very much like being back in those bands that I played in for many years ago. So there's definitely a challenge in doing that. I think it's also like 4 or 5 years ago, because I really wanted my own platform, and I wanted I don't want to be on a big major label or having anyone to tell me what to do. I really like to be my own boss and kind of decide how the video should be and how the album cover should be, how the music should be. I really want to. I'm a bit of a control freak, to be honest. So I really like to, just decide how the whole package should be, and that's much more easy for me if I have my own little label. So I'm mainly just releasing my own stuff, and lately I also released Tom and his computer. He's also playing with me tonight. He's supporting me on this tour, and we are old friends. We have been making music together for 20 years or something like that. And then I also released a girl. She's playing Theremin, Dory Chrysler, and that's So this label is just my own platform for releasing my own stuff and friends' stuff. I think the music scene, especially in Copenhagen, for the last 5 or 6 years has been really growing and really great, because I think if you're going 10 or 12 years back, the only thing that we were known for in Denmark was like cheesy dance pop, like I'm a Barbie girl with Aqua or stuff like that. This really, really cheesy stuff, and suddenly for like 5 or 6 years ago, especially indie bands suddenly started to sound as themselves, because we always wanted to sound as our UK idols or our US idols, and suddenly these bands came out of not only from Copenhagen but from whole of Scandinavia, And bands like Sigur Rós also has a very special Icelandic sound, and even Fever Ray or The Knife, which is very different from Sigur Rós. But we all have this melancholic Scandinavian sound, and you know, that was really that was really great for us, because we started not sounding like copies, but we actually started sounding as ourselves. And that Scandinavian sound is a very melancholic and blue and more dark sound, I think. But I also think when you're listening to old Danish or Scandinavian folk music, it also has that kind of melancholic vibe, and it's always in minor, you know, it's always really not sad, but sad in a quite beautiful way. And I somehow think that, you know, you can hear that tone in a lot of Scandinavian music. If it's jazz or folk or classical or electronic or rock, it still has that kind of same melody structure in a way. It's really hard for me to kind of tell which city that has the most interesting music scene right now, because I'm not that up to date with that actually. I'm more living in my own little world and doing my own music, and especially while I'm writing my own stuff, I don't listening that much to other music. I think actually Copenhagen is pretty cool right now, because there's coming so much different music out of Copenhagen, different styles, and I also think that musicians are now working much more together. In the old days, people were always fighting each other. There were a lot of competition. There's definitely still competition, but I also think that people are working much more mixing different styles and genres, and that's very healthy for the music scene, I think. So I think Copenhagen is pretty cool now, basically. I don't think that I have been playing any cities where I really felt that we were not really welcome or it didn't really work. The beautiful thing about instrumental music also, because half of the show is still instrumental, is that it's music that doesn't really have any language, you know, so it, you know, doesn't really have any limits, so people can kind of understand the music because it talks kind of straight to the heart, and it doesn't have to go through the brain, but it goes straight to the heart, because there's no lyrics to kind of dictate what the song is about. And that is the most beautiful thing about music, I think, that it can really, it is not, you are not expected to understand the English lyrics, you can somehow feel the music, and that makes it quite easy for us to play in the States, or in Europe, or Asia, or wherever we play. It's kind of, it's not the same crowd, but it's kind of the same reactions that we get from the people that we are playing for. Actually, my favorite food is actually Italian. Italian and Japanese. Also really love Japanese food, but Italian, there's so much. It's embarrassing because maybe I cannot pronounce it right, but it's just the classic. You know, what I actually like most is the very simple, like just some pasta with truffles, black truffles on top, and then just some little bit of cheese and something. And that's very simple, but very good, and very good in ingredients. And that is what you're good at doing, I think, Italian food. Sometimes it's only 3 or 4 or 5 different things that you put in, you know, one dish. And in Denmark, we tend to do put a lot of stuff in it, and it doesn't really taste of anything. And I really like if it's good in ingredients, it can be very simple but very tasteful at the same time. So pasta with black truffles or something, that's great. It's the first time that we're playing in Rome, in Italy, with the new stuff from Fixion, and it's going to be great, hopefully. So we will do our best, definitely, and yeah, just great to be back.